We're living through the creation of what might be one of the most powerful tools in all of human history. But here's the paradox, right? The very tool that's designed to make us smarter has the power to erode our intelligence completely.
And that brings us to the central question we're tackling here. Because as AI becomes a part of everything, you see this invisible dividing line forming. Some people get sharper, clearer, and more creative, while others, well, they just become dependent. And the outcome? It's not random. It's determined by a very specific way of thinking.
So let's dig into the first signal. We call it the answer trap. And honestly, this is the fundamental misunderstanding about how to use AI. It's where most people go wrong right from the very beginning.
This simple distinction, right here on the screen, this is the whole game. Most people treat AI like some kind of magic oracle, you know? They go to it looking for certainty, for easy answers. But the top performers, they do the exact opposite. They don't use it for answers. They use it as a tool to sharpen their own questions.
And this is the core idea you have to get. The real value of AI isn't in the answers it spits out. It's in the quality of thinking it forces you to do. See, AI doesn't think for you. It just amplifies the quality of your thought. So the output you get is always a direct reflection of the cognitive work you put in up front.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. This is a pattern we see over and over again in the highest stakes environments you can imagine. We call it the cognitive amplifier. This quote just nails the proper division of labor. AI is an unbelievable pattern recognition engine. I mean, it can sift through massive amounts of data and find correlations that no human could ever spot. But here's the thing. Correlation isn't strategy. It isn't wisdom. The meaning, the so what, that is still a uniquely human job. So what does this actually look like? Well, a top strategist doesn't ask AI, hey, what should our company's strategy be? No way. They come to the table with a well-formed hypothesis, and they say, stress test this plan for me. Tell me where its weakest points are. A medical researcher uses it to spot anomalies in a data set, not to make the final diagnosis. In other words, they use it to interrogate their own thinking.
Here's another great way to think about it. The tool is powerful, for sure, but it has zero context. It has no judgment. It can find every possible needle in that haystack, but only a human, with deep expertise and a clear strategic goal, can decide which needle is the one that actually matters.
Okay, so this brings us to how this all plays out in the real world. It's about a fundamental shift in your mindset. You have to stop querying an oracle and start interrogating one.
Now, notice in this process where the really critical work happens. It's all at the beginning and at the very end. Coming up with that initial hypothesis, that's pure human reasoning. Assigning strategic meaning at the end, that's where all the value is created. The AI is an incredibly powerful sparring partner in the middle, but it should never, ever be driving the process.
So what happens if you got this wrong?
Well, this is where we see the real cost of misunderstanding the tool. It leads to this really dangerous state we call the intellectual dependent.
Now, to be clear, an intellectual dependent isn't just someone who uses tools. We all use tools. This is someone who has allowed their tools to replace their own judgment. Their cognitive muscles start to weaken. They atrophy because they're just not being used anymore. They've outsourced the hard work of actual thinking. And that leads to the brutal reality of this dependency. The moment your judgment is fully outsourced, the moment you're just passing along an AI's answers, you've just made yourself completely replaceable. Your judgment, that's your ultimate value. Outsourcing it is a career-ending move.
So how do we avoid this trap? Well, it all comes down to building a totally different way of thinking. This is the edge that winners have. They don't think in answers. They think in questions.
You've really got two mindsets here. On one side, you have the passive consumer. They crave the comfort of a certain answer. On the other side, you have the robust thinker. They're actually drawn to ambiguity. They see AI not as a way to get a definitive answer, but as a launchpad to explore the unknown, to test the boundaries of their own understanding.
So the winner's edge, really, it's got nothing to do with having better tools. It's all about having a stronger mental framework. It's about being comfortable with ambiguity. It's about a healthy skepticism toward easy answers. And it's about understanding that real intellectual growth, the kind that makes you irreplaceable, only happens in the discomfort of doubt, not in the comfort of certainty.
Okay, so let's bring this home. This isn't just about observing how other people operate. This is about auditing your own cognitive habits. So I've got 3 really sharp questions for you to ask yourself.
First up, where are you outsourcing judgment? And I mean, really think about it. Where are you letting a tool make the final call? Think about a recent decision where you just accepted an output without really challenging it. That's a potential weak point.
Second question, what assumptions are you not interrogating? You have to remember, every single answer that an AI gives you is built on a mountain of assumptions. Assumptions in its training data and assumptions in the prompt you gave it. Are you actively digging in to uncover and question those, or are you just accepting them blindly?
And the final question, and this is maybe the most subtle danger of them all. AI delivers answers with this incredible, almost unnerving confidence. But you have to remember that confidence is not the same thing as clarity. It's not the same thing as correctness. So the question is, where might you be letting the tool's confident tone substitute for your own rigorous, critical thought?